Hi guys, Dr. Yao here, and I wanted to introduce myself and the syllabus here in the first week. So this quick little presentation, well, maybe not quick, but this presentation will hopefully get you acclimated to the class and let you know what you have in store and who I am. So let's take a look. So first, I wanted to introduce myself. I am your professor for this semester. I am Dr. CJ Yao, and you're welcome to call me Dr. CJ or Dr. Yao. Both are perfectly fine. Please don't call me Charles, though. I do not like that. So, Dr. CJ, Dr. Yao is great. I am a full-time professor here at SPC Seminole campus. So this is where my office is. If you're on campus, by all means, come and say hi. And I've been teaching here at SPC's in the Comp 1 and Comp 2 classes for well over a decade. So you're in very good hands. I know exactly what's happening here. So this is going to be a great time. As far as my academics, I have a doctorate in Victorian literature with emphasis on children's literature, specifically things like Alice in Wonderland, The Secret Garden, Jungle Book, Peter Pan, those types of things. So that's what my dissertation was on. I have my master's in Shakespeare, and then my bachelor's is in King Arthur. So I just kind of moved my way up the English literature timeline as I went through. But don't panic, there's no Shakespeare or anything in this class. You might get that in Comp 2 if you take it with me. I've been living here in Florida with my husband since 2015. We moved from Mississippi, and you would think that we would be used to warm weather, but Florida is a different warm weather entirely. I think I'm finally acclimated to the humidity, but maybe not, so who knows. I'm originally from Savannah, Georgia. Lovely city. I get to visit it every once in a while, but we're actually very happy here in Florida. So we've kind of made ourselves all set, and I very much enjoy getting to visit all the theme parks. So that's been a highlight. A little bit about me personally. My hobbies include Dungeons and Dragons. I am a dungeon master for 2 major campaigns with my friend group and family. When I get to play, I'm a bard. It's one of my favorite classes. If that doesn't make any sense to you, then don't worry about it. I'm also a big anime fan. I'm an elder weeb. I've been around since the days of Sailor Moon. I try to keep up with what's current, but that's a major passion of mine, as well as going to conventions and kind of engaging in that whole subculture. Um, in the same vein, I also love Disney, the parks, the movies, the food, all of it. Um, I have a strong feeling towards a lot of these films. Not all of them are just like, yes, they're the best. I enjoy digging at Disney films critically. In fact, that's what a lot of my scholarship is on. I also have a passion for other forms of animation. So if that's your jam, by all means, shoot me an email and let's chat about it. It should be a good time. But yep, so there's a little bit about me. Oh, and I have a cat as well. I'm sure she'll make an appearance at some point in some video or other. But her name is Icy. She's a little gray tabby. But I am sure that she will pop in to say hello at some point. So here's some basic information on how you can contact me. So there I am, Dr. CJ Yao. You can see this on your Canvas page at the top of your syllabus or in the little like welcome space. Pronouns are he, him. Email is the #1 best way to get in contact with me. My email is yao.charles@sbcollege.edu. Like all good millennials, I have my phone in my hand or in my pocket at any moment of the day. So email is the best way to get in contact with me. I tend to not check emails all that religiously after about 7 p.m. or on the weekends. So if it's urgent, I would include that in your subject line just so that I spot it. But it may take me a little bit to get back to you after that amount of time. Typically, though, I can get back to you in a couple of hours. I ask for 48 hours just in case I'm busy. But if you don't hear back from me in 48 hours, email me again because I probably just missed it. But yeah, so email, like I said, is the best way to get in contact with me. This phone number is for my office here at Seminole campus. It kind of just goes to like a digital voicemail, so it's not all that reliable. But if push comes to shove, that's a good way to do it too. But again, email is the best way to do that. I will have a separate video per semester about my office and office hours, as well as online chat hours, so we will see more of that in a separate video. But my office is in the Seminole campus in the library in room 205G, and you can see a little bit more about my schedule and things there on my instructor page as well. All right, So what we're going to do now is we're going to go through the syllabus. Now, this is a beast of a document. We are not going to go through everything here in this video, but I encourage you to kind of skim through it all so that you're familiar with everything. Remember, a syllabus is your contract in the class. So you need to know exactly what's expected of you as well as what you can expect of me, and you'll find all of that in the syllabus. But today, here in this video, we're just going to kind of clip through some high points to make sure everyone's on board with what we have coming down the pike. So some basic course information. This is English Comp 1. So this is that first writing class that most students take in the college space. And so this is your first semester. You're in good company. This is the first time you've been back in college in a little bit. That's fine too. Or if you've put off this class for as long as you can, I am inevitable, then you are finally here. So I wanted to introduce the ideas of the class here real quick. My favorite thing about this particular class, which I really enjoy teaching, is that it is categorized here at SBC as a communications class. And I like that a lot because usually this was where I would ask if anyone's an English major. No one raises their hand. And I let you know that I don't teach this class as if you were all English majors, and I barely teach it as a writing class. This is really a communications class. My goal here is to teach you guys how to communicate effectively, getting ideas from your head onto the page in a coherent, effective manner, fully supported with all of your evidence and good transitions and things like that, so that you can make sure that your audience gets exactly what they are supposed to out of your written content, as well as to streamline that process so that it maybe isn't quite as daunting. So while this is a writing class, and it is a writing intensive class, I really do like to think of it more as a communications class, which is exactly how it's billed. So we're going to be spending a lot more time on the thinking side of things, making sure that our ideas are good. Even if you're anxious about grammar or anxious about citation, things like that, we work on that separately. But my focus and my passion is making sure that everyone's ideas are good and that they have good evidence and good structure to back up those good ideas. So we have 4 major projects for the class, 3 essays and 1 kind of creative project. Our first project is the humanities essay. And so this is where you are going to choose a famous work of art, and we are going to analyze it from a particular perspective. And it is going to be your task to identify the claim that the artist has or creator has behind this artwork, and you're going to walk me through how you got to that claim. You're going to use rhetorical devices, tools that writers and creators and artists use to communicate ideas. And so for our art analysis, it's going to be things like line and color and shape and things like that. And you're going to use those pieces to help back up your claim about this particular artwork. Our second essay is going to be in the natural sciences. So this is more focused on the natural world. Personal opinion gets kind of removed from it. So we had a lot of personal opinion in the humanities. This time, we're kind of on the opposite side of things. This essay is all about research. You're going to be compiling research together, and that's really the bulk of it. There's not going to be a whole lot of personal ideas or personal opinions inserted into this essay. You're going to use this research simply to justify why the topic is significant. So just think of it as a mini research project, and that kind of settles it in a very good headspace. Our third essay, or I guess I should go this way. Our third essay is the social sciences. This is a problem solution essay, something you're probably more than likely familiar with. In this, you're going to choose a particular social problem or trend, and you're going to use research as well as your own opinions to propose potential solutions to this problem. This is one that students tend to have a lot of skin in the game on, and you get to kind of sink your teeth into. So I really like that we wrap up all of our major essays with this, as it's also a nice blend of our other 2 essays. So in this one, you get to balance both personal opinion and research to help come together on a very neat kind of project and solution there. That'll take us all the way through kind of just the tail end of the semester. And then the last couple of weeks of the semester, we're going to do our remix project. Now, the remix project is a situation where you're going to take one of your other 3 essays and you're going to put it into a new medium and for a new mode and for a new audience. So you get to kind of rethink, revision, remix the claims that you made in these other essays. So for example, you may make a brochure about your natural sciences topic. You could possibly make a video essay about your social sciences. You could make a Lego diorama of your humanities artwork piece, as if you were like walking them through a museum. Lots of really cool options, and we'll talk more about that as we get to it. But that's a nice kind of like gentle lift for the end of the semester, and is a really cool way to look back at the work that you've done and see how it could pay off in different ways. So those were the major assignments. This is going to be those other little kind of filler grades. So we've got three categories here, well, four technically. You have your homework assignments. These are going to be small discussion forums, typically just in responses to simple prompts. These are low stakes. I'm not overly anxious about formatting or grammar here, though I will obviously keep an eye out for certain things. These are mostly like brainstorming spaces, as well as mostly effort-based. So as long as you do it, kind of like put your heart into it, you should be okay. They're usually just kind of the idea to let you kind of grapple with some concepts. Process writing, on the other hand, is much more like significant in terms of its overall impact. So process writing is all the material that you're going to use to help gear you up for the actual essay. So these will be things like proposals, outlines, bibliographies, things like that. All of this content is meant to help make the essay easier to write. So by the time you have finished all of these small steps and you sit down to actually write the essay, most of it's already done. So these are really important kind of assignments, and it's very important that you have them done on time and kind of in their sequence. And we'll talk more about that in a second. But these are really effective assignments that I wish I had done more as a student early on. So I spend a lot of time in making sure that we slow our roll and just kind of like go through the process of writing. So that's going to be a big step for us. We also have our grammar quizzes. Grammar Hammer, I did not name them that. These are going to be spread out throughout the entire semester, but this is the easiest way and most cohesive way to cover our grammar topics throughout the semester. The cool thing about this is that I do not find that grammar is supposed to be punitive, so you are welcome to take each quiz at least 3 times to make sure that you get the grade that you want. If you're still not happy with your grade, contact me and we can go from there. But these are just meant to help you kind of reinforce these ideas. Now, the only problem with these is that they are time locked because it doesn't do you any good to do all the grammar quizzes at the end of the semester. So pay attention to those due dates in particular, because once you miss that due date, the grammar quiz does lock you out. So you're not going to be able to take it. But I dropped the lowest one of that, so it's okay, but keep an eye on those. And then finally, attendance and class participation. It's a little flimsy here in an online space, and we'll talk about attendance specifically in a second. But I do want you to participate in the class, and that includes like contacting me, engaging in the coursework, and making sure that you have the content necessary underneath you, and you're not just writing the essays, because there's a lot more to the class than just that, and there's a lot more to writing than just that. So have to make sure that we're kind of like here for all of it. Now I said we would talk about late work, and here we are. So late work is tricky because we're here in an online class, and I fully understand that these types of classes are very easy to either back burner or forget about. It happens. I may do it at some point myself. So we are going to be not super hard nosed about late work, but there is a point at which it just must be done. So generally speaking, late work can only be accepted kind of like up to a certain threshold. Basically like a week out, if you're behind on an assignment, you can still complete it, possibly for just like, 10 or 15% off the top. That's fine. But it's really important that you stay on task with the homework. I have the homework broken out over the week, so not all of it is due at one time, and you'll see more about that in the due dates video. But you want to try your best to keep up with it as best you can. Process writing in particular is something that really needs to be done in the time period that it's set because it's meant to help you build towards the essay. So there's a very good chance that if you miss the window on something, you're just going to have to miss it and you won't be able to go back for it. So don't bank on coming back for process writing. As for formal assignments, these are things they don't really want you to miss, but they do have to be turned in on time because I have to grade them and you need to move on to the next project. So I do reserve the right to take off points for major essays that are late. Currently, I have major essays set to be due on Friday, but if you need a little bit more into the weekend, that's okay. You just have to ask for it. So there's always a little bit of wiggle room with our major assignments because I know things happen. But do your best to hit those major deadlines, and then you just get to keep up with it. You don't have to worry about anything. As I mentioned, there will be a specific video for our due dates, our course, or in our class schedule. So keep an eye out for that here shortly. Now, attendance is weird in an online class. I get it. I'm not the kind of professor who's going to make you like verbally check in or like sign some kind of roll or something like that. That doesn't do me any good. So the way we're going to do this is mostly as long as you're just like keeping up with things, we should be okay. Now in Canvas, I do get to see when you last logged in. And I get a little notification if you haven't logged in X amount of time. So if ever that happens, you'll probably get an email from me because I need to make sure that you're like staying with me. Things like that may count as an absence if you don't check in a certain amount of time. Typically it's 5 days, but we'll have to play with that as the semester goes along. You do have homework due throughout the week, so you should more often than not be checking in a couple of times a week. I certainly encourage you to check in at least on Mondays and at least on Thursdays to make sure that you have all the assignments turned in that you need. So your digital attendance is taken by your logging in and keeping up with the work and also staying in contact with me. If you go the entire semester and never email me, that might not be in your best interest. Or if you never respond to a feedback or have a conference with me, things like that, it's probably not ideal. Of course, not everyone has to see me. I get that because it's an online class and some of you are very comfortable in this space. So we'll play that by ear. But generally speaking, you need to check into the class at least twice a week to make sure that you're counted as present. Now, academic honesty is particularly important here in an online class. We live in a world of generative AI and ChatGPT is everywhere, and I get it. It will be very, very tempting, but don't do it. It is not going to be useful to you. And honestly, they're real bad essays. Like, they may be grammatically squeaky clean, but they are soulless and bad. So I don't like reading them. So I don't like rating them either. So the big thing here is don't cheat. As long as you don't cheat, we should be fine. Cheating includes, but is not limited to, having someone else write the essays. It is including turning in work that you've already submitted for another grade, including if this isn't your first time taking Comp 1. It is having ChatGPT write anything from a prompt in a discussion forum to an actual essay. We have software, it's called Copy Leaks, and you can read about that in the syllabus. That does have AI detection within it, but it's not foolproof, and I get that. I am sure something will get past me, but ultimately, all you're doing is just like delaying a certain level of inevitability of learning. You really got to get this stuff down, and you want to be comfortable with it. And so, using ChatGPT is just not a good way to do it. If ever you feel like ChatGPT is your only answer, contact me so that I don't have to read that essay because it won't be fun. And I will be more than happy to help supply you with any kind of other methods of success that we can get you to avoid using AI. But yes, so don't cheat in the class. Not only could it get you a 0 on an assignment, it could overall impact your academic journey here at SBC, and we don't want that. So don't cheat, please. And that's it. You made it through the syllabus video. Hopefully this will be the longest video I have all semester. But if you have any questions about the syllabus or any other of the class policies or processes or assignments, anything like that, you are welcome to shoot me an email and we can go from there. Anyway, best of luck. I didn't go over 20 minutes. I'm so proud of myself. You guys have a good one. We'll see you next time.